colleague Daniele Pagani now joins me from Jerusalem. Daniele, is there a possibility of a large unity government, or is a second stalemate still in the offing?
Given the fact that the voting count shows an absolute parity between the two major parties and an absolute parity between the two coalitions they would form, which would both fall short of a majority in order to rule over the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, well, the possibility of a national unity coalition becomes now more concrete and more realistic than ever. The problem is that in order to put together this coalition, there is a lot of negotiation that it's going to be there, because Benny Gantz, the rival of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, said multiple times that he will be ready to join hands with other parties to form a larger coalition, even with the Likud, the party which Netanyahu leads, but the condition is that Netanyahu gets out of the picture. The Likud, on the other hand, say that they do not intend to ask their leader and their Prime Minister to step aside. Therefore, this will be a very, very powerful bone of contention. It will be very problematic to understand how these will go. Also, the former Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman holds apparently some 10 seats. That makes him the kingmaker of Israel. And whoever would want him to form a coalition, well, he might need to concede to some of his requests, which are very hardcore and hard-hitting and very secular for the Israeli society. It will be difficult to put together Avigdor Lieberman and their nationalist and secular voters and the Orthodox parties in the same government. Surely the President of Israel, Mr. Rivlin, said that he will do whatever he can to avoid Israeli voters to get out and vote for a third time in 1 year. So I don't think that a stalemate or a repetition of this election is actually on the table.
All right. Now, Daniel, do the voter turnout and the exit poll predictions indicate that the Arab-Israeli voter has proven to be a game changer in this election?
Yes, absolutely, yes. These elections can be seen as a victory from the Arab political parties' point of view. Why so? They decided to run all together. They are 4 major parties, and it seems that they will hold control over 9 to 11 seats. This is a very significant result, and it seems also that many Arabs went out and voted, despite the fact that in the last elections only 50% decided to vote. And this also signals the fact that, as some members of the Likud, the right-wing party of the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, are now saying, attacking them and pledging annexation at a very last minute right before the elections was probably not a good strategy. It may have prompted many Arabs to get out and vote to preserve their rights and also to support the Palestinians' right to existence. To call this vote a game changer might be stretching it a bit, because anyway it will be very unlikely that they will join actively a coalition. But certainly they will have a great say on very important things for Israel, and anyone would need to come to terms with their request if they want a smooth governance.
Right. Also, Daniele, do we now see Lieberman as playing the kingmaker?
Absolutely, yes. The former Defense Ministry of Israel and also staunch ally of Benjamin Netanyahu before everything collapsed in April is the kingmaker in Israel. He holds control of 9 or 10 seats. We will need to understand in the late hours of today, but that is the one number of seats that any coalition will try to chase in order to stabilize the government. And he has already said that he does not want to talk to any leader if they do not intend to concede to his request. And majorly, one of the most controversial issues in Israel, he wants all Israelis, including the Orthodox Jews who are now exempted, to serve in the army. And this is exactly the reason for which the coalition in April did not stand a chance to govern, because Lieberman abandoned it because Netanyahu could not avail this request in order not to lose the Orthodox party's support. So now Lieberman is in a very powerful and strong position and is waiting for leaders to reach out to him. There is no wonder that he is the most vocal advocate of a large unity coalition, and perhaps he also sees himself leading this coalition in order not to have Benny Gantz and Benjamin Netanyahu fight for the same seat of Prime Minister. This would be the fulfillment of his ambitions. And anyway, he demonstrated that he could actually gather more votes after the April 2019 elections. He doubled the number of seats that he actually controlled right now.
All right, on that note, Daniele Pagani in Jerusalem, thank you so much for that update.